Madam Chair, I have a unanimous consent.
Without objection.
Thank you so much. This is just from a couple of hours ago. Trump pivots to distractions as polls show collapsing support for his agenda.
Madam Chair,
Right now.
it's
Madam
not
Chair.
your time.
I'm the chair of this committee.
That's not how
I'm the chair.
parliamentary procedure works.
You're not
Madam
recognized, Ms.
Chairwoman.
Stanberry.
You're
not
recognized either. You can't just speak.
I don't think you know what you're here
President.
for.
Well, you the one talking about. I guess
I
you still
think your
stuck in the
fake eyelashes
courtroom.
are messing up
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen, Americans are looking for help. But instead of offering it to them, the Republicans have unleashed the most aggressive attack on the working class families. Last time I checked, none of the witnesses sitting here know anything about Doge except for what they read on the internet. I want to talk to the person.
This isn't either. You've made your motion.
Okay, well, you were asking, so I wanted to make sure you
made your
understood.
motion.
Okay, thank you.
Is she the dumbest person in the House of Representatives?
I'd be hard-pressed to find someone dumber.
Here displayed behind me is the post that Mr. Lefelt put up. Mr. Lefelt came in here today saying that this is game day.
With those that say have constitutional authority, since we care about the Constitution, then maybe we could have saved the American people not only money.
Well, if you're not making a motion, then
already made
you
the
can
motion.
continue with your 5 minutes of
The
questioning.
motion was to subpoena Elon Musk, who was heading Doge, who is the one that made the recommendations for these cuts.
A House committee meeting turned into a viral sensation when Marjorie Taylor Greene's cheap shot about fake eyelashes came back to haunt her. Jasmine Crockett didn't just respond, she obliterated the attack in a way that had MTG leaving the room. What made this exchange one for the history books? Before we move on, I would like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. What happens when someone hurls a shallow insult only to have it backfire in front of everyone? Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene surely discovered the answer during a fiery congressional hearing that was meant to focus on Merrick Garland. Instead, thanks to MTG, things got sidetracked into petty digs and drama, exactly the kind of circus she thrives in. But this time, her antics didn't just miss the mark. They set the stage for one of the most embarrassing moments in recent political history. The session was supposed to be all serious business, with Republicans gunning to grill the Attorney General on hot-button issues like the DOJ's handling of Trump investigations. But as usual, MTG couldn't help herself. Instead of keeping the focus on policy, she zeroed in on Jasmine Crockett with an insult so trivial it was.
Well, you the one talking about. I guess
I
you still
think your
stuck in the
fake
courtroom.
eyelashes are messing up
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Almost laughable. After Crockett presented a sharp line of questioning, MTG shot back, not with a rebuttal, but a jab about Crockett's fake eyelashes. Yes, that's right. In the middle of a congressional hearing discussing serious matters of justice, Greene decided to attack someone's appearance. It's like showing up to a chess match and flipping over the board because you can't outplay your opponent. But anyone who's been paying attention knows this wasn't just a mindless dig. The comment, as petty as it sounds, had layers of microaggressions baked into it. Attacking a black woman's appearance, particularly in such a public space, is textbook behavior for undermining credibility without addressing substance. It's not a new playbook either. For decades, black women in the public eye have been subjected to these veiled, racially coded insults from political adversaries, media commentators, and even random online trolls.
The hearing will now resume. Ms. Crockett, do you have a motion?
I didn't have a motion. I had a point of order. I was trying to determine how long it was going to take for us to call the roll. I can call it if need be.
Well, if you're not making a motion, then
already made
you
the
can
motion.
continue with your 5 minutes of
The
questioning.
motion was to subpoena Elon Musk, who was heading Doge, who is the one that made the recommendations for these cuts.
The National Public Radio, NPR, once wrote about how this exact kind of rhetoric is designed to other black women, painting them as artificial, combative, or exaggerated simply for existing and standing their ground. Think about it. Fake eyelashes wasn't just meant as a shallow insult. It was an attempt to strip Crockett of her authenticity, to claim she was trying too hard or being overly performative. For MTG, this was a cheap way to pull attention away from what Crockett was actually saying, because what Crockett was saying was hitting too close to home. It wasn't just about lashes, it was about sending the message that Crockett didn't belong, that she wasn't real enough for her position. These kinds of remarks are exhausting and all too common for women of color in politics who are constantly forced to navigate their careers under this microscope of judgment. What MTG didn't seem to understand, or maybe she did, but completely underestimated, is that Crockett wasn't the kind of person to let a comment like that slide. The goal was to rattle her, to knock her off her game, maybe even force her into an emotional response that MTG could use to her advantage.
Yo, like, this is a joke, right? No, it's not. It's like this terrible nightmare. And literally, I really do know that it is a nightmare for so many people, not just here, but across the world. I get emails from all over this world with people that are fearful because of the lack of leadership that they're seeing right now on the federal level here in the United States.
Lack of leadership. We're stripping the country down. We're really, I don't know if that we'll ever know how much damage.
But instead, she lit the fuse on what would become one of the most iconic clapbacks in recent memory. It was the equivalent of poking a bear and expecting it to simply walk away. Let's just say, Crockett didn't walk anywhere. She stood her ground and delivered a brutal response that left Greene scrambling for the exit. When Crockett fired back, it wasn't just wit that made her words land so effectively. It was the precision, the timing, the sheer understanding of how to flip an insult on its head and redirect it right back at the one who threw it. Greene's comment wasn't just dismissed, it was dismantled. In a split second, Crockett managed to drag the insult down to its level of ridiculousness, while elevating her position above the nonsense entirely. Crockett's response wasn't just a quick comeback, it was an act of verbal precision. Referring to Greene as bleach blonde, bad built, and butch body, she struck a perfect balance of humor and sting. It was as if Greene lobbed a weak jab, and Crockett countered with a knockout punch thrown at exactly the right moment. Her words landed with the kind of weight that shifts the energy in a room. They didn't just dismiss Greene, they unraveled the entire intent behind her comment. Crockett showed that sometimes the best defense isn't just ignoring attacks, it's striking back harder, smarter, and with more style. This wasn't just a clapback for the sake of entertainment, though it certainly delivered on that front too.
There's an entire agenda that is attacking the working class Americans from start to finish. And then the thing is, they told us that they were going to do this, but, you know, they pretended as if they knew nothing about the playbook that was laid out by good old Heritage Foundation.
Crockett's words carried a deeper strategy. What the bleach blonde reference did, intentionally or not, was hold up a mirror to Greene's own hypocrisy. After all, Greene's outward appearance, complete with her signature hair and aggressive posturing, has long been part of her brand. Crockett's jab wasn't just about her looks, it exposed the hollow nature of Greene's attempts to discredit her. Instead of rising above, Greene became the punchline, and the room, and eventually the internet, was there to witness it.
Right now.
It's
Madam
not your time.
I'm the chair of this committee.
That's not how
I'm the chair.
parliamentary procedure works.
You're not
Madam
recognized, Ms.
Chairwoman.
Stanberry.
You're
not
not recognized either. You can't just speak anytime you want.
I'm the
That's
chair of
not
this
how
committee.
That's not how it
Ms.
works.
Stansbury,
Madam.
you're not recognized.
Madam Chairwoman, that is not how part.
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
All day, but that's.
If this exchange were a boxing match, Greene threw a few wild swings and Crockett counterpunched, landing every hit squarely. That's the brilliance of what some are calling her verbal jujitsu. Instead of simply shutting Greene down, she flipped the narrative entirely, using the same tool Greene had wielded, appearance-based insults, and turning it into a critique of Greene's own approach to public discourse. It was a moment of undeniable skill that left her opponent stunned. According to reports, Greene, known for her confrontational style, wasn't so quick to fire back. In fact, her reaction told the whole story, shaking her head, fidgeting in her seat, and eventually walking out, visibly defeated. A Twitter user summed it up best. The exchange wasn't just shade, it was a public dragging. The viral nature of the moment only added to its potency. Crockett leaned into it. Social media exploded with clips of her takedown, memes flooded timelines, and Crockett capitalized on the attention brilliantly. She even filed to trademark some of her remarks, quickly launching the Crockett Clapback Collection merchandise line. This wasn't just a personal victory for her, it was a savvy political and cultural move.
Madam Chair, I have a unanimous consent.
Without objection.
Thank you so much. This is just from a couple of hours ago. Trump pivots to distractions as polls show collapsing support for his agenda.
Without objection.
But there was more than just humor here. The exchange sparked conversations about the double standards black women face in politics. Crockett herself has spoken about how black women endure constant scrutiny over their looks, whether their hair is natural or styled, their makeup muted or bold. Greene's insult wasn't just petty, it echoed a larger issue about the stereotypes still weaponized against women of color in spaces they've historically been excluded from. And Crockett's demeanor in the face of Greene's jab proved why representation matters, because when you've seen this kind of attack your whole life, you know how to handle it with grace and fire. Crockett didn't win this exchange by luck or coincidence. She won because she understood the dynamics at play and knew exactly how to reframe them. What started as a petty insult became a viral spectacle, with Greene scrambling to salvage her dignity. By the end, Crockett wasn't just winning a petty argument, she was dismantling Greene's entire approach to politics, one well-timed word at a time. What happens next for the MAGA brand after such a public misstep? That's where things get even more interesting. Why did one exchange between Jasmine Crockett and Marjorie Taylor Greene manage to shake the entire MAGA movement? Because it didn't just highlight a bad moment for Greene, it exposed deep cracks in the foundation of a brand built on bravado and bluster. What started as a petty insult turned into a cultural lightning rod, and the aftershocks haven't stopped. The viral nature of this moment threw gasoline on the fire. Crockett wasn't content to just let her response live as a soundbite. She turned the tables even further, launching her Crockett Clapback collection, a line of merchandise featuring some of her more memorable quotes from the hearing. It was bold, it was clever, and it was proof she knows how to capitalize on a moment. Proceeds from the merchandise went on to benefit House Democrats, giving the whole thing a layer of purpose that Greene could never hope to achieve with her usual chaos. Memes popped up almost instantly, with Crockett now seen as a symbol of how to handle MAGA bullying with wit instead of shouting. One shirt reading "Fake eyelashes, real intelligence" seemed to perfectly sum up what people loved about her approach. She didn't just shut down Greene, she elevated the conversation. The incident also drew attention to a glaring double standard. While Crockett's jab at Greene received some criticism for its sharpness, Greene's initial insult about Crockett's fake eyelashes was largely ignored by her own party. Many pointed out how quick some Republicans were to tone police Crockett while Greene's attacks went unchecked. It wasn't just hypocrisy, it was a reminder of how someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene gets away with behavior that would sink a less privileged politician. As one commentator put it, Greene weaponizes chaos, but she can't handle it when someone weaponizes competence. Donald Trump, of course, couldn't resist chiming in, but his response only added to the chaos. According to reports, he was reportedly furious at how the exchange portrayed Greene, a key ally of his, as outsmarted and outclassed. Even more damaging for Greene, Crockett used the hearing as a platform to go after issues close to MAGA's heart. One example? Her call to subpoena Elon Musk, tying it into Republican budget cuts and policies, turning what should have been a simple back-and-forth exchange into a full-scale critique of the MAGA movement. Greene might have entered the hearing ready to rant about her usual talking points, but she left looking unprepared and completely outmaneuvered. Late-night comedians also had a field day, with Jimmy Kimmel summing up the moment in his typically cutting style. He suggested that Greene's brand was losing its edge and hinted that moments like these show why the MAGA machine faces long-term damage.
Is she the dumbest person in the House of Representatives?
I'd be hard-pressed to find someone dumber.
I get the sense that it's not just Democrats that don't like her.
Oh, no. Like, her people don't like her either.
Her people don't like her either.
Kimmel pointed out the vulnerabilities that have started to show, how the movement that bills itself as anti-establishment is increasingly seen as chaotic and shallow. It's all slogan, no substance, he quipped, capturing the underlying reason Greene's mishap resonated so widely. If moments like this keep happening, MAGA might find itself reduced to a punchline rather than a political powerhouse. The whole spectacle wasn't just embarrassing for Greene, it was revealing. It showed how the MAGA playbook, which relies so heavily on performative outrage, starts to fall apart when exposed to sharp wit and actual policy debates. Crockett's ability to calmly and intelligently dismantle Greene in real time sent a message. The MAGA brand might be loud, but it's hollow. Even conservative supporters have started to question if figures like Greene are helping or hurting their cause. For a faction that relies on loyalty, this shift could be a serious threat to its future. In the end, this moment wasn't just a win for Crockett, it was a glimpse into the cracks forming within MAGA's grip on American politics. As Greene walked out of that hearing, the exchange highlighted something far more significant than one bad day for a politician. It showed that the rhetoric MAGA thrives on is meeting smarter, more strategic opposition, and the playbook it once relied on might not work much longer. Jasmine Crockett's clapback wasn't just a moment, it was a statement. It showed the power of intelligence and wit to tear down the petty aggression that Greene and her allies thrive on. While Greene aimed low, Crockett aimed smart, and the difference was impossible to miss. This wasn't just entertaining, it was a reminder that leadership requires substance, not spectacle. Crockett's ability to dismantle Greene's attack sparked a wider conversation about accountability in Congress. It's up to us to demand more from our leaders. Less chaos, more clarity. If one exchange can shift a narrative, imagine the impact of real change.